your marks. Welcome to the first episode of Tie Your Shoes, an educational podcast for students who want to know what success will look like in our class this year. The focus of today is grit, what it is, why it's important, how to develop it in your character, and finally, how I want to see it demonstrated in PE class. Many of you may say, hey, Mrs. Marks, I've heard that word grit used a lot lately. It certainly has become a buzzword when talking about your generation. So let me define grit. Based on the psychologist Damian Vaughn, grit is a passion and perseverance to complete a long-term goal despite adversity. Those might be some big words, so let me give you a simple example. Tying your shoes. It also happens to be the name of the podcast, so maybe this will help you make a connection. I know all of you by now probably know how to tie your shoes. It is almost second nature to you. Your parents probably, decided a long time ago that it was an important skill that they wanted you to know how to do. So they took time to show you and you took time to learn. And for some of you, it was really probably pretty easy to learn. And so for some of you, it might have been more difficult. But whether it was difficult or easy for you, you persevered and you worked on it and worked on it and worked on it until one day you were, able to tie your shoe. This is what grit is. It's working at something with passion and purpose until you find success. So if you can tie your shoes, you have demonstrated you have the capacity for grit. And why is grit so important? Well, people with a lot of grit are more likely to be successful in life. And this is not just because they are necessarily smarter or more talented. It is more to do with their attitude or mindset. People with grit have what is called a growth mindset. Research from Psychology Today says this means they understand that their abilities or talents are just the starting point. What matters more is what they do with their talents and abilities, how they practice and work on them to help make themselves better at a task. So let me give you an example from our class. At the beginning of the year, we do the push-up test to measure muscle strength, and there are some people who can whip out like 25 push-ups, no problem. There are other people who can't even do one. Maybe they can't even hold a plank. So in our class, you have a choice. You can either say, wow, I can't even do one push-up. I'm just going to give up. Or maybe you can say, I can't do as many push-ups as that person over there who can do 25. So I'm just going to goof off and pretend it doesn't matter and say push-ups are stupid. Or you could give it a go and realize that even though you can't do as many push-ups as the person who can do 25, you can still improve and maybe even make it a goal to do, as many push-ups as you need to get a healthy zone at the end of the year, or to make the presidential, test and be able to get an award at the end of the year. In this example, it looks like giving it a go is not giving up. It means knowing that even if you are not as talented as somebody else, that your effort and practice over a long period of time can result in a lot of growth. So let me end with a quick story about a famous athlete who had a lot of grit. His name was Michael Jordan. Now, if you know anything about basketball, you know who he is. He is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Well, do you know that Michael Jordan did not make his varsity team when he tried out? He said it was one of the hardest things that had ever happened to him. Now, he could have even, at that point, decided that basketball wasn't for him and he should do something else, but he didn't. In fact, he let the adversity motivate him. It motivated him so much that he worked harder. He said that the summer after that happened, he worked out all day, every day. You can watch his documentary, The Last Dance, to see his inspiring story. But after this, what happened? Well, he ended up playing not only for his high school team, but for UNC and then the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan ended up being one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He had grit, the passion and perseverance to prevail despite adversity. So the question this year is, who are you going to be in our class? The one who gives up? The one who goofs off? Or the one who shows grit? Go for grit. And don't forget to tie your shoes.